There's something dark lurking inside you. Not a horned, fiery beast from some comic strip, but something far more real, something human. It's that fury you nurture, the slow-burning resentment that flares up when someone disrespects you, that fire in your chest when life doesn't go your way. It's the part of you that lashes out, wrecks bonds, and leaves you powerless, and you keep feeding it. But what if I told you there's a way to silence it, to bury it so deep that even when chaos erupts around you, you remain unshaken? Miyamoto Musashi, perhaps the most formidable warrior to ever walk the soil of Japan, mastered this. He wasn't merely a swordsman, he was a storm cloaked in stillness. He survived over 60 deadly duels without a single defeat. Not because he was the fastest, not because he was the strongest, but because in the heart of battle, he became emotionless. This isn't a legend wrapped in myth. This is how one man conquered his rage and became immortal in history. And now, you'll learn his method. Step 1. Anger is a leash, and you're the one being led. Let's not sugarcoat it. Anger doesn't make you invincible. It makes you a slave. Each time you snap, every time you lose it, whenever someone pokes and you react, you're broadcasting your weakness. You're handing them the remote control to your mind. Musashi grasped this truth early. He saw anger not as power, but as a shackle. A reflex so predictable it made warriors easy prey. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment of it." Sit with that. Because if someone can ignite your anger, they can steer your actions. You're not calling the shots. Your emotions are. Musashi severed those strings. He forged himself into someone who couldn't be baited, who could stride into the jaws of death with the serenity of a monk. No insult could shake him. No blow could unnerve him. He was observant, detached, cold. Not because he had no feelings, but because he refused to let them rule him. True strength isn't about brute force. It's about being untouchable, mentally unshakable. That's what made Musashi a force to fear. Not his weapon, not his size, not even his speed, but his calm, his stillness, his emotional silence. A man without emotional buttons is a man you can't manipulate, scare, or destroy. That is real power. Step 2. The moment Musashi extinguished his anger. There's a tale, few know it. When Musashi was still a teenager, he issued a challenge to one of Japan's most respected swordsmen, Araima Kihei. Araima was sharp, poised, traditional. He expected a refined duel. Musashi arrived carrying a wooden staff. Araima sneered, jeered, mocked him. Most would have snapped, fought out of pride, let emotion lead. Musashi stood firm, silent, focused. Then he moved, swift, decisive, deadly. Araima fell, defeated. No shouting, no rage, just clean, cold precision. Musashi didn't fight with emotion. He fought with clarity. He moved like inevitability itself. Anger was not his fuel. Control was his edge. Step 3. The blade of the mind. Musashi wasn't just a warrior. He was a thinker, a strategist of the psyche. He learned to dominate his emotions. He once wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use, and anger, misused, is almost always pointless." You think it helps you win debates? It reveals your fragility. You think it gives you the upper hand in conflict? It makes your enemies grin, because they know they've already won. The mind is like a blade. Let it rust in emotional chaos, and it goes dull. But if you keep it honed, steady, silent, it cuts through anything. 4. Why you lose to anger, and why you'll keep losing. Let's bring it home. Why do you really get angry? Someone throws shade at you, life throws you curveballs, a car cuts you off. The brutal truth. You get angry because you believe you're entitled to control things that were never yours to command. You expect the world to treat you a certain way. You assume others should follow your script. You demand fairness. Musashi would call that attachment, and attachment, he knew, was the birthplace of suffering. He trained himself to need nothing. He wandered alone, slept on the earth, hardened not just his body, but his spirit. No comfort, no illusions, no false control, and because of that, no one could touch his peace. 5. Training the void. Musashi's path to emptiness. You don't defeat anger by yelling into pillows or doing a few hundred push-ups. You conquer it by forging your mind into steel. Musashi's method? Voluntary struggle. He chose discomfort, slept under open skies, ate sparsely, rejected wealth and fame. He believed comfort softened the mind, and a soft mind breaks easily. Try this. Pick one indulgence and eliminate it. Cold showers, no sugar, a week without scrolling. Cut what makes you squirm. Get used to discomfort. You'll see, most of your rage was just disguised entitlement. The most dangerous weapon? No reaction. Musashi could go entire days without speaking, even during combat. He trained himself to watch without engaging. Next time someone tries to push your buttons, pause. Say nothing. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just observe. The shift is instant. You'll feel the power swing your way. And meditate on death. Every morning, Musashi faced the thought of dying. Why? Because a man unafraid of death becomes immune to everything else. He once wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." When death walks beside you, what's a rude driver or a cruel word compared to the infinite void? 6. Kill the ego, extinguish the flame. At its root, anger wears the mask of ego. You don't get mad because life is unjust. You get mad because your self-image is under siege. Your pride is poked. Your worth is questioned. You feel invisible, dismissed, unappreciated. But here's the truth. Musashi saw clearer than most. Ego is a fragile illusion masquerading as strength. And the more you feed it, the more vulnerable you become. Musashi's answer? Starve the ego. Burn it to ash. Leave it behind. He didn't care about being admired. He didn't need his name etched into legend. He rejected praise, ignored status, wore plain clothes, avoided crowds, because he knew the more you crave validation, the easier it is to control you. The more your identity hinges on others' opinions, the more power they have to crush you. Musashi moved through life like a shadow, detached, self-reliant, silent. He lived like a ghost because he understood. A man with nothing to prove is untouchable. When the ego dies, insults become background noise, criticism becomes feedback, rejection becomes irrelevant, and anger. It dies too, because there's nothing left to defend. You want to be untouchable? Don't build bigger shields. Burn the identity you're protecting. The warrior who has no pride left to injure is the one everyone fears most. 7. The final duel, Musashi versus Sasaki Kojiro. Let's close with the moment that sealed his legend. Musashi's most iconic battle was against Sasaki Kojiro, a swordmaster, a celebrity, fast, polished, deadly. Musashi arrived deliberately late, not out of disrespect, but strategy. He wanted Kojiro impatient, irritated, emotionally off balance, and it worked. Kojiro seethed. Musashi stepped ashore, composed as ever, holding a wooden sword he'd carved from an oar. Kojiro charged, burning with fury. Musashi? Calculated, cold. One precise strike. Kojiro fell. That's the cost of anger. 8. Musashi's Code, a modern way. This isn't about pretending you're a wandering samurai. It's about taking their discipline into the now. Emptiness, detachment, precision, stillness. If you want to stop being angry, stop reacting, start observing, stop expecting, start detaching, stop shouting, start sharpening, and always remember, the quieter you become, the more formidable you are. The warrior's path is about meeting death without flinching. Musashi wrote, "When you no longer fear discomfort, when you release the need to control others, when you look death in the eyes and laugh, anger dissolves. What's left is silence, and in that silence, power."